Well, good afternoon, West Ham fans. Ross and the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well if you're around here. Where the hell have you been? Thanks for joining us. It's a few hours until we play Brentford at the G-Tech Stadium. And as we always do, a couple of hours before the game, we try and put our predicted 11s together. Obviously, we had a fantastic win against Arsenal on Wednesday. And we know straight off the bat, we know Paqueta's not playing. Obviously, we know Alvarez both are suspended for the game. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. Both of them were for the game against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. We also know, according to David Moyes' press conference, that Kurt Zouma is a doubt. So my assumption, we knew he was out for the Arsenal game. He picked up an injury. So he said he's not sure if he's going to be ready for the game. So either he is or he isn't. Brilliant. 50-50. So we will have a little think about that. So let's see what we can do. Let's try and put an 11 together, shall we? Let's try it and see what happens. So, right. I think actually for me, Alvarez not playing is a bigger loss than Paqueta. And it's not because Paqueta's worse, but the best position Alvarez plays compared to Paqueta. Paqueta has a number of players who could probably do that job, but Alvarez, we haven't really got anyone who's an out-and-out CDM like Alvarez. So I think there's going to be a slight change in formation, slight tinkering. So unlike what tends to play is a 1-4-1. Sorry, no, not 1-4. A 4-1-4-1. I think there'll be a slight adaptation of that back to a 4-2-3-1. But it's just numbers in it. So in goal, Mr. Aliola. Fabianski, I thought, did very well. And as a defensively, we were relatively strong against Arsenal, I thought. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Maybe one of them is, again, played with Fabianski more than he's played with Ariola, potentially. Who knows? But also, I think this man returning, Emerson, back in the side. Wasn't surprised he started against Arsenal. I thought he was brilliant. And he's my unsung hammer of the year this year already. 10 games in. If he closed the hammer of the year, I reckon he'd be up there. Definitely. He's been brilliant. I really rate him. And we do need some backup for him. Because when he's not there, it's abundantly clear he's not there, because it's just that whole left hand side just loses any what's the words? Not motivation, any drive from the fullback, in my humble opinion. So if we go with that, let's go with Nayev. Somewhat return to form, I thought, from the Arsenal game. I thought he was a lot more, had a bit of swagger around him, as I said. Obviously there was the pass for for Kudus's goal, which was brilliant. And a few times he had the ball, turned the defender, things like that. That's what we love to see. I'm going to assume that Kurt is not fit, and so for me, Mavropanos is in. Moyes in the same question around Kurt Zouma not being in the side, he then bigged up Mavropanos loads by saying he's adjusting, he's ready for the Premier League, that type of thing. So to me, he's back in and back in the Premier League. And then for me, obviously Soufal will be on the right hand side again. Another great game for him. I thought he played quite well against Arsenal. My OCD is kicking in, so I've got to quickly make sure that is all properly distributed properly. Thank you very much. Ooh, calm down. Then moving to midfield, obviously no Alvarez. I think it's going to make a massive difference, but I think for me, and also I think JWP comes in as captain. I think he comes in as captain. I think the plan was always to make JWP the club captain. And with Kurt out, this gives a great opportunity for that to happen. I think if JWP came in the same way when Maguire was apparently going to come in, he was promised the captaincy. And I think it was always the plan that James Ward-Prowse would come in and be captain. Obviously, Fabianski was captain on Wednesday. When Zuma's not in it, I mean, someone like Bonner's been captain this year. I think it will be Jadal Prowse. And I mean, you see him the way around the pitch. He does sort of motivate people and talks to them and shouts at them and jeers them up and just acts like a captain anyway. Alongside him, I think we'll play 2 in the midfield. For me, Mr. Souček comes in. Souček, and that'll be the 2. And again, this is just thankfully, I think this will just be for this one game, because I prefer Edson Alvarez playing in front of the back 4 and then JWP further up the pitch, but it is what it is. And then for the midfield, so the forward 3, I think you'll see a start for Saeed. I think he'll start. He scored the goal in January last year when we beat them in the FA Cup. We obviously haven't beaten them in the Premier League ever, although it's only been 4 games, but ever. So very much a monkey on our backs in terms of Brentford. Another curse we need to break. We've broken the Brighton curse. Now we need to break the Brentford curse. In the middle, playing the 10 role, I think you'll see Mohamed in there. It's great that he can play in so many positions. Sometimes it's a detriment of a player. They can play in so many positions, but he seems to play well in any position you put him in. So he's played well when we've put him out right. He's played well when we've dropped him into the 10 role, where he played slightly deeper when he's coming for Souček. He's played well. I'd love to see him pushed a bit more up front as well. I think, the way you saw Bowen manhandle a lot of the Arsenal defenders from a relatively diminutive size. Kudus is so strong. He's really got such a low center of gravity as well. Really hard to push off the ball. So I'd love to see him, I think, given a try as a false 9 or just pushed up there and just see what he can do. Now, as much as it pains me, I think Mr. Bowen will be on the right-hand side later on today. The reason being is just because we haven't got Paqueta. Because we haven't got Paqueta, for me, it's everyone moves back 1. I think if we had Paqueta playing, I think that would be quite interesting. I think you would have less likely to have seen Antonio play and maybe a similar system to how he was set up for the Arsenal game. But I think based on the fact we have, 2 of our key starters not featuring, I think you'll probably see, I'm going to just drop them just down a little bit. There we go. I think you're probably going to see Antonio start up front. Obviously, he didn't play in the week. And I think that's your 11. I don't think it's going to be much difference. I think if Kurt was okay, then there is justification to maybe even go 3 at the back for the Brentford game with the 3 of Aged, Zuma, Mavropanos, and then you'd have Emerson as the wing back, Soufal as the right wing back. I prefer Tilakira, I think, as the right wing back. With then a sort of a midfield 3 of JWP, Kudus, Souček, and then sort of Bowen as a sort of second striker to Antonio, and I think Benny would miss out. But I think that's a side. Let me know anything in the comments below, and we'll see in a couple of hours how good or how near or how far I am. I reckon I'm not. I reckon I'm about maybe 1 player out, possibly. Only based on Moyes' comments when he was asked about Paqueta and he was asked about Alvarez. He said, but we've got loads of guys who play in the cup games and in Europe, and when we need them, they're ready. But then I suppose we've got 2. We've got Mavropanos, and he's been playing a lot of cup games, and so is Ben Rama. Maybe there's a spot for Fornals. Could we fit him in? How could we do it? What we could do is we could have gone like this, possibly. I don't think it's going to happen, but that could possibly happen. Anyway, until then, don't forget to like, comment, share. Keep an eye on the channel. Loads of stuff coming out. As I said, in a couple of hours' time, we'll be having the watch along. So, and then we start all over again. We've actually got a little bit longer before the next game because we don't play till Thursday. So Saturday then Thursday. How nice for that. Anyway, take care. We've got the Brentford playlist, so you can see all the videos in association with this game, all the press conferences, any news that's directed specifically to the Brentford games, all in one playlist. So it's nice and easy for you to find. Go back and have a look at it all, and get ready for the game. Take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Keep the faith, my friends. Come on, you bloody Irons. And see you soon. Irons.